Welcome back to the podcast here. We're going to move into the second quarter. So this second quarter, we're going to discuss this past season. This would have been Coach's first season here at Albertville. So we're going to discuss a little bit of a breakdown of last year in year one at Albertville. Let him give us a little bit of a recap. So last year, just kind of covering, Albertville finished 22-12 overall, I believe, Coach, last year. Y'all were 4-3 in region or area play. You ended up finishing second to Huntsville, which was, as we were discussing prior to coming in here and starting the podcast, was nationally ranked team. Huntsville's always had a really good team, had some really good players. Had a couple kids. Had the one kid go to Stanford.
One going to Auburn.
Yeah. So some really talented guys coming through there. Really good coach group of boys over there at Huntsville. So it's a tough bunch to play there, and especially to be in their region. That makes it very tough. But then it was awesome to be able to see for the first time since 2020, Albertville made it to the regionals in 7A, and that's a big thing when you're getting into 7A and the classification. That says something. So to be able to make it your first year in, tough thing was you drew nationally ranked and number one team in the state, Hoover. So that was a little tough. You would end up losing that game. So, but overall, I would say it was a really, really good year, I thought, for your first year to come in and to be able to make regionals and to be able to compete the way y'all did. So just want to give you some time to kind of recap from last year and just kind of let us know what you kind of had coming out of last year. So.
Sure. I was really, really proud of our team last year and our guys. I was the third coach that those seniors had, so they had been through a ton of transition, and I admire the fact that they were willing and able to trust us and let us put our process in place. I'd say that we're probably a little more complex and a little more detailed in our approach than the previous coaches had been, and that's not a knock on them, just different styles. Mm-hmm. But our guys really bought into what we were doing, and they developed tremendously throughout the course of the season. And the important things to our team going in was we wanted to win the county tournament. That's really important to those guys, and we were able to do that. And they wanted to make it to the Sweet 16, which they had not done in the 7A era. And so that's where we kind of set our sights from the beginning. We had 8 seniors, and so for that guy, it was a really big deal for those guys. And as I said before, they developed so much. Mm-hmm. We had some important ones that I'll mention here in a minute. But as far as the season goes, I was very pleased with the fact that we were able to come in second in the region. As you mentioned, in the state of Alabama, there were 2 nationally ranked teams. Huntsville High was generally around number 20 in the country. Hoover was between number 4 and 5 in the country, and we knew that that was going to be our cross when we get to Sweet 16. And Christian does a tremendous job. Schweers does a tremendous job up at Huntsville High. He's a good coach. They had probably legitimately 9 college players, and so they were a good team. And we fought our tails off against them, and they got the best of us. But I was proud that we were able to play against both Sparkman and Grissom, who I think were probably a little more athletic than we were, and we were able to play basketball at a high level and take advantage of the skills that we had developed, and we're able to take care of business with those guys. For the season, as I mentioned, we had 8 seniors. I'm proud of all of them. We had 2 of them. We were fortunate enough that Cooper Colvin was able to go on, and he's playing at Oglethorpe University now, and that's just really awesome. I think that was a dream of his, and that's great. And John McCullers is up at Sneed. I think he's going to play, and so that's neat. But just as important, we had a bunch of other guys. Mason Hartman really developed a lot. Ty Snyder was a guy who hadn't played a lot up until last year. He's a little bitty guy, but man, he really contributed in our Grissom game. He probably won the game for us with his play down the stretch. Wesley Knight, who's a baseball player, who's going to be playing at Sneed, contributed tremendously. And I don't want to forget him, but every one of them was important. And we return a couple, when we talk about this year, we return a couple really key pieces. Mm-hmm. But we lost a whole lot of guard play. Yeah. And those guys really contributed to our season. But overall, I think the measure of every team is not necessarily the win and loss record. It's did you squeeze every bit of ability you had out of that team. And I thought we did last year. I'm not saying there's not a game or two we wouldn't like to have back. But if you look at the season as a whole, they really developed as players. They developed as a team. and I thought they played their best basketball in January and February when it mattered. So I was really proud of that group.
Yeah, and y'all tend to play a pretty up pace style of play there. Y'all are pretty quick up and down the floor, really pushing the pace in the transition a lot. So I noticed that was a lot of speed on that team too that you had last year.
Speed and size. I think that'll be the biggest difference. We had a bunch of guards that were 6'2" to 6'5", which we will not have as many of those guys this year. But yeah, we really like to play with pace when we could. We have to have a certain skill level because we can play with tremendous amount of pace up here on the mountain. But when we have to go play Huntsville and Grissom and Hoover eventually, they're going to out-athlete us if we're only fast.
Yeah.
So we have to have a mix of that. But we definitely like to play with speed and try to take advantage of the highest percentage shots we can get, which is usually in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. So we try to go do that.
Yeah, and I remember coming and watching the Huntsville game last year, and y'all played really well with them with the first quarter, and then it just seemed like they kind of started pulling away and a little outpaced you just a little bit each quarter. And so, but overall, you had a really talented group last year. So, I know with some of those guys that you lost and everything, is there anything outside of just the speed and the overall shooting? Is there anything else that you see coming out of last year that you're kind of building on for this year, like any changes or anything like that you look to make?
Well, I think we made I want to mention Hunter Smith too. I didn't mention him, and Hunter was a tremendous football player.
Oh yeah.
But he contributed so much to our success last year. And Preston Conley, both those guys, they just came to my mind that I don't want to forget anybody. But Hunter's one that I remember took over, and I believe he was the MVP of the county tournament. So he had a tremendous season. And Hunter, I'm brought to mind by Hunter. I think the thing that I was most impressed with is I think we learned how to practice, and I think we learned how to work and put in the necessary effort at the right time to earn the right to be successul. Not just hope it happens on a Tuesday or Friday, but just put in the work. And I hope we'll take that forward. I was really, really proud of the process-driven way that we went through last season, and we've got younger guys this year, and so now we're going to have to get back to learning how to go through that process and how to work and how to develop the specific skills and reads to be able to make good decisions. Because if we're doing a really good job coaching, it's not going to look like I'm putting on a show. Our job's done in practice, and that's not to say we're not going to call plays in games. But it's not about me. At that point, we've trained them, and they need to be able to go play. Oh, yeah. So you have to put in the work and practice so that you can play the right way under pressure, and it goes well. So I hope we'll carry that forward. I think those guys last year they were good players. They were great people. And so if we can carry that forward, that high character, high work ethic, and ability to just come in and work. They were in the gym all the time. If we can carry that forward, we're going to be all right going forward.
Okay. So what would you say was one of the main things you did coming in as a coach last year that you really tried to implement with those guys coming in?
I think for us it was teaching them how to, for themselves, see what's happening on the court and play. And they had been through a couple different systems, and they really pressed and played exceptionally fast going forward. So I didn't have to really implement that. They kind of knew how to do that. We put our own tweaks on it because there are things that I believe you do a little differently. But that's not to say it's better or worse. It's just what I like. So we really put a whole lot of emphasis and effort on learning how to make decisions and make them fast and make the right decisions so that we get the best shot we can get on offense, and so that we defend as a team on defense. And so we put a whole lot of effort in decision making and how we can do that, and then just developing skill, the ability to shoot the ball, the ability to dribble and pass under pressure, because we didn't want to allow the other team to force anything on us. We wanted to enforce our will on them.
Okay. All right. So just kind of coming to a close here on this one, anything else that you want to add on a recap from last year, from last year's team, or anything last year's season that you want to kind of take away? I'll
talk about our returners here when I talk about this season, but my main point of emphasis would be how proud I am of that group. To go through 3 different coaches and achieve their ultimate goal was to make it to the Sweet 16. And I know, when you know that you've got a top 5 team in the country, that is unique at any level of high school. When you know that's on the other side of it, to push really hard and reach a goal and then keep pushing. I was super proud of those guys, and I think it demonstrated not only their character, but that was a tremendous group of parents that I had. And you don't have that every time in high school, I can tell you. But I had a great group of parents who were high character people and people that really invested in that program. And, if you've been around our gym lately, you'll see the fruits of some of their labor and the labor of our school system as a whole, all the investment that they've made in basketball in the last few years. And it's, it has continued to get better and will get better over the next couple years. But all the effort of those kids and their parents have put into our program will pay dividends for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's a wild place to play in, to coach in, anything, just to spectate inside of that Albertville gym. And on top of that, with y'all making the regionals and the girls making it, that was something that I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I think there was maybe one other school that had both boys and girls both in regionals last year.
Yeah,
that was pretty tremendous. So.
I think I'd like to say uniquely at our place, I think our guys and girls really, really pull for each other. Mm-hmm. I've never had a women's coach that I've worked with that I like more than Natasha and her dad. Coach Waddle is there with us every day. The three of us are in the gym. We're like buddies. But Lainey is as good a player as you will. I hadn't been around here forever. There may not be another player as good as her up here on this mountain for a long time. She's tremendous. She'll have a chance to be a McDonald's All-American this year. She was just voted one of the top 15 players in the country on the EYBL circuit, and she is unbelievable. She's a better kid than she is a player.
Definitely.
And that comes directly from coming from an unbelievable family. John and Natasha are great people. Bobby and Justin, all of them are just great people. And so I think it's really cool because if you come around our place, there's no jealousy on either side. They're genuinely kids and coaches that pull for each other. And I think that's neat. And I think the town gets behind that. If you went to Jacksonville State and watched that game, I'm not so sure there was anybody left in Albertville. The whole town showed up and was wearing the same shirt. And boy, if that isn't what high school sports is all about, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think the town pretty much shut down that day.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people there that day. So, all right, well, we'll call that the buzzer there for quarter two. We'll take just a little small break. We're going to head into halftime for just a little fun, and then we'll be right back.
All right.